Good morning, children. Welcome to my English class. This is Aprajita ma'am speaking. Here's a message for you all know. I always say y'all that all power is within you. You can do anything and everything. So today we are moving forth with our literature book. Ace with Aster Literature. And what is the chapter we are doing today? The Lady of Shalott. A poem written by Lord Alfred Tennyson. Now, before moving through the poem and before reciting and knowing about it, I would like to tell you all a few lines about Alfred Tennyson. Alfred Tennyson, the first Baron Tennyson, and FRS, was an English poet. He was the first poet laureate during much of Queen Victoria's reign and remains of the most popular British poets. In 1829, Tennyson was awarded the Chancellor's Gold Medal at Cambridge for one of his first pieces, which is that Timbuktu. He was born on 6th of August 1809 at UK. He was married to Emily Lady Tennyson in the year 1850 and he died on 6th of October 1892 at United Kingdom itself. Now we come up to his poem, his write-up. About the poem, The Lady of Shalott. The Lady of Shalott is a lyrical ballad by the English poet Alfred Tennyson. He was inspired by the 13th century short prose text Donny D's E.L.R. It tells the tragic story of E.L.R. of Shalott, a young noblewoman stranded in a tower up the river from Camelot. Forbidden to leave the tower, the lady is only allowed to see the outside world through a mirror, or else suffer an unnamed curse. The Waterhouse captured the poem's first part in his 1913 painting. I'm half sick of shadows, said the Lady of Shalott. Here we have got part 2 and 3. When I read for you all, you will just go through the recitation first and then the explanation. Now we are here in part 2 first. There she weaves by night and day a magic web with colors gay. She has heard a whisper say, a curse is on her if she stay to look down to Camelot. She knows not what the curse may be, and so she weaveth steadily, and little other care hath she, the Lady of Shalott, and moving through a mirror clear that hangs before her all the year. Shadows of the world appear, there she sees the highway near, winding down to Camelot. There the river eddy whirls, and there the surly village churls, and the red cloaks of market girls pass onward from Shalott. What do we read here? The Lady of Shalott never comes to the window. She is not allowed to. And no one ever sees her. What is the lady doing with her free time? She is weaving a magic web. all day and night. She's heard a rumor. What's that? A whisper. That she'll be cursed if she should stop working. Stay is an old way of saying stop or pause. And look down the river at Camelot. The twist in this poem is that no one told the Lady of Shalott exactly what the curse involves. To be on the safe side, she just keeps weaving all the time with nothing else, little other care to worry her or occupy her time. In other words, a pretty boring life. The web she is weaving isn't the only magical prop in this poem. There's also a magical mirror which shows shadows of the world. What does she see on the highway in the mirror? For one thing, there's a spot in the river where the current makes a little whirlpool. The river eddy whirls here. Mostly, though, she sees a parade of people. Now we come up to the next part of part 2. Sometimes a troop of damsels glad and a boat on an ambling pad. Sometimes a curly shepherd lad or long-haired page in crimson clad goes by to towered Camelot, and sometimes through the mirrored blue the knights come riding two and two. She hath no royal knight and true, the Lady of Shalott. But in her web she still delights to weave the mirror's magic sights. For often through the silent nights, a funeral with plumes and lights, and music went to Camlet, or when the moon was overhead, came two young lovers lately wed. I'm half sick of shadows, said the Lady of Shalott. So, what do we read here? The parade of passers-by continues. We see a group of happy young men, damsels who are glad. Then an abbot, the head of a monastery, on a lazy old horse, which is an ambling pad. Young men, too, a shepherd with curly hair, maybe, or a page, a young servant to a knight, with long hair and red clothes. We see all of them here, which she imagines. Whatever magic sights she sees in the mirror, the lady weaves into her web. Still, magic mirror or not, we get the sense that this is a pretty crummy deal for the lady. She is fed up with this life, and we can feel that something may be about to change. So, what does the change come up? Let's see. Part 3. A bow shot from her bower eaves. He rode between the barley sheaves. The sun came dazzling through the leaves and flamed upon the brazen greaves of bold Sir Lancelot. A red cross knight forever kneeled to a lady in his shield that sparkled on the yellow field beside remote Shalott. The gemmy bridle glittered free, like to some branch of stars we see. Here it comes, the big turn in this poem. Someone's coming, Although in these lines he is only identified as he. He shows up riding through the body, just a bow shot, as far as you could shoot an arrow from the lady's little prison. The sun is dazzling and bright, and it sparkles off his greaves. That's a piece of armor, like metal shin guards for a knight. Then he drops the name. Who's he? This isn't just any knight. It's Sir Lancelot, the toughest and most famous. And we imagine the best looking of King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table. Literally, these lines mean that Lancelot's shield has a picture on it of a knight kneeling before his lady. He mentions the field of barley again and the remote island of Shalott. And the next part of part 3. Hung in the golden galaxy, the bridal bells rang merrily as he rode down to Camelot, and from his blazoned baldric slung a mighty silver bungle hung. As he rode his armor rung beside remote Shalott. All in the blue unclouded weather, thick jeweled shone the saddle leather. The helmet and the helmet feather burned like one burning flame together. As he rode down to Camelot, as often through the purple night, below the starry clusters bright, some bearded meteor trailing light moves over still Shalott. This is the major shift in the plot. So the speaker has to get us really invested in Lancelot. How's he? He starts out by comparing his jewel covered bridle. What is the bridle? The gear that fits upon the horse's head. How does he compare it to a constellation of stars in the sky? Lancelot apparently also has a strap or a belt across his shoulder, called the baldric. It's specially decorated or blazoned. Just for a little icing on the cake, the speaker compares Lancelot's feathered helmet to a shooting star with a tail, the bearded light that lights up the night sky. All these happen, but where do they happen? Everything moves over still in Shalott. Now here's the last part of the third part. His broad, clear brow in sunlight glowed. On burnished hoofs his war horse trod. From underneath his helmet flowed his coal black curls as on he rode. As he rode down to Camelot from the bank and from the river, he flashed into the crystal mirror. Tira lira by the river, sang Sir Lancelot. She left the web, she left the loom, she made 3 paces through the room. She saw the water lily bloom, she saw the helmet and the plume. She looked down to Camelot, out flew the web and floated wide. The mirror cracked from side to side. The curse has come upon me, she cried, the Lady of Shalott. So, what do we see here? He is even got great hair, coal black curls, which flows out of his helmet. You should really be thinking of a movie star by now. Some unbelievably cool, well dressed dude. Shoop won't pick one for you since we do not know your type, but you get the idea, right? Now he shows up in the lady's crystal mirror. She finally sees this Superman we have already heard so much about, and we have to believe she is impressed. Lancelot is singing a song as he trots along, and we get a little snatch of it. Just the words tira lira. This may be a reference to Shakespeare's The Winter's Tale, where one of the characters sing a song about the lark that tira lira chants. It's probably also just a nonsense word from an old song like Hey Nonny Nonny or Sha La La. It's important, however, because it echoes the lady's singing from earlier in the poem. When the lady sees him, she makes a fateful choice. She steps away from her loom and walks across the room. For the first time, she actually looks outside and sees the real world, the lilies, the knight's helmet, and Camelot. So here's the poem and the total explanation, children. Hope you all have enjoyed. Please read it as many times you can, and every time you will get to know the poem better. Now for a recapitulation. Think of the lady like Sleeping Beauty on that Disney cartoon. A beautiful maiden trapped in a tower under a terrible curse. The first people the speaker introduces to us are some rough peasants from the town and some girls from the market in red cloaks. We get lots of fun, little details here, but these aren't really characters in the poem. They are meant to represent the outside world, the place where the lady cannot go. She's fed up with this life, and we can feel that something may be about to change. Tennyson really ratchets up the effects for this big entrance. If it were a movie, this moment would definitely be in slow motion. The poet doesn't actually say that she has fallen hopelessly in love at the very sight of Lancelot, but that's pretty much the inspiration, the implication. The speaker compares her to a seer. Who's a seer? Someone who can see the future, having a vision of his or her bad luck in the future. She has a glazed expression, a glassy countenance on her face. The lady can sense already that she is doomed. This is one of the famous images from the poem, which you might have seen in the paintings. The lady is dressed in loose white clothes that flap about her in the wind. Leaves fall on her lightly as she lies up the boat and drifts through the night down towards Camelot. Hope you all have enjoyed the poem, children. Thank you.